Billionaire discovers heartwarming truth. Young girl 8 exposed to incredible injustice after meeting a tech mogul. Ethan Williams, a 38-year-old billionaire tech entrepreneur, stood in his sleek office overlooking the shimmering Chicago skyline. To the world, he was a man who had it all: wealth, power, a lofty name in the tech game. But for Ethan, the view was hollow. Behind the glass walls that shielded him from the chaotic world below, his heart weighed heavy with emptiness. Could all the money in the world fill the void that gnawed inside him? Not a chance. Just a few streets away, on the other side of his insulated life, was a vibrant community clinging to hope amidst crushing economic inequality. He had seen it once, en route to a high-stakes meeting, the faces of those struggling burnt into his memory. Little did he know that a chance encounter was waiting to change everything. It was there, at a local shelter, while delivering corporate lunches as part of a hastily organized charity event, that he met Mia. The 8-year-old girl had bright, twinkling eyes and an enthusiasm that sparkled even in the dim, crowded room. Mia, with her frizzy hair and mismatched clothes, was helping serve food, serving her community while wielding a smile that could light up a room. "Thank you, mister," she said, handing him a plate adorned with a haphazardly placed sandwich. Something about her innocence struck a chord within him. He felt a warmth he hadn't experienced in years, something pure in the midst of his own lustrous life. Days turned into weeks as Ethan found himself captivated by Mia's hope. Following her home was not just about understanding a world he had once overlooked, but unraveling the fabric of resilience she embodied. Mia walked to a school that never had enough supplies, sharing books and pencils that were not enough for her classmates. Even so, her laughter filled the air, echoing against the cracked walls of her rundown apartment. But the further he walked beside her, the heavier the guilt grew within him. How could he isolate the influence of his privilege and its consequences? One crisp autumn evening, Ethan decided enough was enough. With determination, he drew up a bold plan to launch a corporate sponsorship that would fund his local schools, dreaming of bringing the shine of resources into the lives of kids like Mia. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the news of the initiative spread like wildfire, Ethan felt a rush of optimism swell within him. But this excitement withered when the community, battered by years of neglect, met his well-meaning plan with skepticism and doubt. Protests erupted, and criticism rained down, striking him like sharp daggers. He saw Mia watching her community unravel, her small face etched with disappointment. In that moment of despair, Ethan wrestled with the painful truth: he could not bring real change from the sterile comfort of his office. Could it be that the key to solving the injustices lay not in shining checks, but in forming real connections with those he wished to uplift? The clock ticked loudly in the silence that followed, and it dawned on him hope wasn't just about charity. As he stood amidst the chaos of his failed attempts, a question echoed in his mind. Could he transform his path from one of profit to purpose? The stakes felt insurmountable, and as he looked back at Mia, he knew the journey ahead would reshape everything he thought he understood about himself. Would he rise to the challenge, or remain the man who only traded dollars for dreams? Ethan stood outside the community center, hands shoved deep into the pockets of his tailored suit. He was used to high-rise meetings, boardroom battles, and glowing screens, not the heart-wrenching silence that now enveloped him. A small cluster of people formed on the steps, their eyes dark with distrust. "What does he know about us?" a woman shouted. Her voice cracked, the pain and frustration evident in her tone. Ethan's throat tightened. He wanted to respond, to explain his intentions, but the words stuck. Mia emerged from the crowd, tugging on his sleeve. "Mr. Ethan, they just don't understand," she said, her eyes wide and earnest. The hope radiating from her felt like a candle flickering in a storm. "You want to help." With a deep breath, Ethan crouched to Mia's level. What could he say? That he was not here to fix them, but to learn? Would that even make a difference? A part of him wanted to turn away, hide behind his walls again, but the look on Mia's face stopped him. "You're right, Mia," he said, rising. "I need to hear them." Gathering his courage, he stepped toward the crowd. "I'm not here to impose," he called out, his voice steadying. "I'm here to listen." A murmur rippled through the onlookers, doubt flickering in their eyes. The woman who had spoken stepped forward. "And why should we trust you, Ethan? You represent a system that failed us." He took a step closer, letting their anger wash over him. "I know my history," he replied. "I promise you this is different. I want to learn from you and understand your needs from the ground up, not from a boardroom." They looked at him like he was speaking a foreign language. Still, curiosity edged into the air. Mia stood off to the side, her small face holding a glimmer of hope. "Let us start here," he continued, emboldened by her presence. "What is it you truly need?" The silence felt heavy, but at last, the woman spoke again, her voice softer now. "We need real resources, school supplies, a safe place for the kids to learn, tutors who actually care." Each request hit Ethan like a new weight in his chest. He thought of all the times he tossed money at causes without thinking. He had never understood what true support meant. "I promise to bring more than just money. Let us gather and talk," he suggested. "I can create a connection with local businesses. Bring in qualified volunteers." "Words aren't enough," a man called out from the back. "We've heard it all before." With determination coursing through him, Ethan gulped. "Then let me prove it to you." For the first time, he felt the breath of determination from the crowd, a shift in the atmosphere. He hadn't just stepped into a community. He had entered a family, one he hoped to fight for. 2 weeks passed as he met with community leaders and parents, blending into their world unnoticed, gaining insight into their dreams and struggles. Each day, he saw Mia leading a workshop for other kids, her laughter infectious. They played games, but beneath the joy was an overwhelming need for stability, for hope to flourish. Ethan began to feel the weight lift slightly. He was doing something real. Yet, in the midst of brightening days, a sense of urgency twisted in his gut. One afternoon, Ethan sat across from Mia's mother, a woman whose hard lines spoke of struggles Ethan could only begin to comprehend. "They say resources are coming," she said, a spark of tenacity in her voice. "But we've heard this song too many times." Ethan nodded. "This time, I'll show you we can overcome." But doubt lurked in the shadows. What if he failed her? What if Mia was let down once again? As he left the meeting, he felt the weight of the world pressing on his shoulders. The greater question echoed in his mind: did he truly have what it took to champion change? Or was he merely a voyager in waters too deep? The stakes were high, and the journey unfolded before him like an uncharted map. But what would happen if the community he was beginning to understand suddenly turned against him? Ethan felt the sun dipping below the horizon, casting long shadows over the community center. It was Friday, and every Friday the children gathered there for games and stories. Mia peeked around the corner, her beaming smile bright enough to chase away any lingering doubt. The sense of urgency was still present, but it had morphed into something else: a sturdy resolve. An idea had sparked in Ethan's mind during those early, quiet mornings. He wanted to do something more than just band-aid solutions. This community didn't need his charity, it needed his commitment. "Me?" he called, waving her over. She came bounding towards him, her sneakers tapping on the pavement. Is it story time? She asked, bouncing on her heels. Not yet, he smiled. I have an idea. What kind of idea? She asked, her curiosity piqued. Ethan knelt down, trying to match her enthusiastic energy. I propose starting a mentorship program. I want to connect the kids here with volunteer tutors, people who genuinely care. Mia's eyes widened. Like me helping the other kids with their reading? Exactly like that, he said. But think bigger. We can reach out and invite others from different neighborhoods, even local universities. There are students who want to help. Her grin spread like sunlight breaking through clouds. That's awesome. When do we start? This might take some time, Ethan replied, trying to contain his enthusiasm. We need to meet with parents, get their support, and then pitch the idea to schools. But a shadow passed through Mia's glowing face. What if they don't believe in us? Ethan paused, a lump forming in his throat. Then we'll show them. We'll prove that this community is worth investing in. As they brainstormed ideas for the meeting, the sounds of children playing filled the air. Ethan watched them, so innocent and full of life. Yet amidst the laughter, he also sensed the burden of their everyday struggles. Each smile masked fears and uncertainty. That following Tuesday, he gathered the parents and community leaders. The room buzzed with unease. Eyebrows furrowed, arms folded across chests. Ethan felt the tension wrap around him like a heavy coat. Thank you for coming, he began, voice steady. I want to talk about a mentoring program that empowers our kids. We can bring in tutors who truly want to make a difference. The skepticism was palpable. Whispers moved like currents through the gathering. Why should we trust you? A father challenged. You've said nice things before. Ethan's heart raced. I understand your doubts. But every time I come here, I see potential, and I've realized it's not just about me. It's about all of us working together. Let's give them fertile ground to grow. Let us create something that lasts. Voices started to rise, firing back with the weight of history. A woman in the back stood up, fists clenched. We can't keep taking empty promises. Ethan held his ground. Show me how I can support you. I don't want to be just a voice that comes in and leaves after signing some checks. I want to create something tangible, something that changes lives. Mia glanced up at him, her small hand gripping the edge of the table, warmth and trust in her eyes. Would they let her dream? As the meeting progressed, the tide slowly began to turn. Ideas flowed, and for the first time, Ethan caught a glimpse of unity building within the room. He could feel the energy shifting, a crack in the wall of skepticism. And yet, just as the air filled with hope, doubt seeped back in. What if this doesn't work? Mia whispered as they left the center. He paused, gazing into her honest eyes. Then we uncover the next steps. Together. But as they walked out, a new wave of anxiety washed over him. What if it wasn't enough? Would they fall back into the cycle of despair they fought so hard against? That night, he lay awake, wrestling with his fears. The stakes were rising. In a world that felt increasingly uncertain, he found himself asking again, was he making the right choices, or merely spinning his wheels? With thoughts swirling like leaves in the wind, he finally drifted off, but not before a vision haunted him, a community united, or perhaps, more perfectly, one standing divided. What would he find when the sun rose again? The sun slipped into the morning sky, spilling soft light across the neighborhood. Ethan opened his eyes, the weight of last night swirling inside him like a storm. He could almost feel the echoes of doubt lingering in the corners of his mind. But that morning, he woke with a renewed sense of purpose guiding him. He sipped his coffee slowly, watching the patterns of steam swirl and fade. For all his planning, he realized he needed more than strategies and meetings. He needed to connect heart to heart with those around him. The strongest ties were formed not just by pledges, but through sincere conversations and shared hopes. Mia arrived at the community center, her backpack bouncing at her side. She was a whirlwind of energy. "Ethan, are we still doing the mentorship thing today?" Her excitement was infectious. "Absolutely," he replied, matching her energy. "But first, I thought we'd do something a little different today." Her eyes twinkled. "Like what?" "We're going to start with small groups," he explained. "Let us meet the kids one-on-one, listen to what they need. This isn't just about academics. It's about their dreams, their struggles, their stories." Mia nodded, understanding blooming in her expression. "I can talk to them about my experience." Ethan felt a spark of admiration for her spirit. "Exactly. You're going to be an inspiration, Mia." As they welcomed the kids, Ethan noticed the nervous glances from some of the parents lingering outside. Their faces bore the worry of uncertainty, shadows of doubt he recognized too well. He turned to Mia. "Why don't you start with your friends over there?" She darted off, excitement radiating from her. Ethan took a deep breath and walked outside. Chatting with the parents was crucial if he wanted their full support. "Hi there," he greeted, noticing a couple of familiar faces. The father from Tuesday's meeting, James, shifted on his feet. "You're back." Ethan nodded. "I am. I'd love to hear your thoughts on yesterday's discussion." James crossed his arms. "Thoughts? You mean doubts? We want things to change, but who's gonna listen?" Ethan's heart raced again, an echo of previous fears. "That's why I wanted to meet today, to find out what is needed. Together we can make real changes happen." From the back, a woman named Sarah stepped forward. "Nice words don't matter without actions. How can we trust you?" Ethan took a deep breath. "I understand. But I'm committed to working with all of you. If you're still skeptical, let us set up a plan together. What are your ideas? What do the kids need?" As the parents exchanged looks, the tension began to shift. James spoke up. "How can we get more involved?" A flicker of hope ignited within Ethan. "Let us meet regularly, work together as mentors for the kids, and find out what support we need to secure." The parents began to nod, tentative smiles emerging. They were cautiously interested, and that was a start. Meanwhile, Mia was busy introducing herself to her friends, laughter ringing out as she animatedly shared her dreams. The scene tugged at Ethan's heart, a web of excitement surrounding her. Children often saw the world simply, as vibrant and alive, unmarred by the weight of adult expectations. After the meeting, Ethan glanced at the beautiful chaos. This was the first step towards something real. Mia rushed back to him. "They like me. They said they want to help too. That's amazing." He cheered. "Amazing," she echoed, still bouncing with joy. Energized, Ethan turned back to the group of parents. "We can build a network. This starts together today. Let us create a mentorship that really matters." But just as he felt an upward tug of hope, he caught James's wary gaze. "We're in, but it better not end in disappointment." Ethan swallowed hard, feeling the weight of the promise he'd just made. "I'll do everything I can to ensure that doesn't happen." As the sun rose high in the sky, shimmering rays symbolizing new beginnings illuminated Ethan's resolve. But doubts lingered, whispering like shadows around him. Could he genuinely deliver on this? Would the children's dreams be crushed again? If he failed? Just as he pushed those thoughts aside, a loud crash sounded from inside the community center. It was the unmistakable sound of chairs toppling over. What had happened now? Ethan's heart pounded as the commotion grew. A sense of dread washed over him, pushing him to dash through the door. He burst inside the community center, where an unsettling scene awaited him. Chairs were indeed strewn across the floor, and a group of kids hovered around a fallen table, their wide eyes filled with confusion and concern. "Whoa! What happened?" Ethan exclaimed, scanning the room for Mia. There she was, lifting a corner of a table with all her might, her face lit up with resolve. "I was just trying to help," she said, flushed but still animated. But then, she noticed the other children were increasingly quiet, their eyes on the table rather than the excitement she had shown moments before. "Hey, what is wrong?" Ethan knelt beside her, looking at the kids who were still standing back, hesitant. A girl with curly hair and tear-streaked cheeks stepped forward. She didn't mean to break it," the girl stuttered, pointing toward a smaller boy who had just started to smile. "Robbie was just trying to show us his art project," and Ethan quickly pieced it together. Robbie's hands were ink-stained clearly from a big creative burst gone a bit too wild. "No one is in trouble here. Robbie, it looks like you've made something really special. How about we clean this up together, and you can show us your project afterward?" Mia chimed in with enthusiasm. "Yeah. I want to see what you made, Robbie. You can even teach us how you did it." One by one, smiles re-emerged. The kids, finding strength in one another, rallied to help upright the table. Eyes sparkled again with shared understanding, and laughter bubbled up in the room. As they began to rearrange the chairs and tables, Ethan's heart lightened. This was teamwork in action. This was what he needed to see. They weren't merely students. They were a community. They were learning to support one another, not just academically but emotionally too. "All right, guys. Show us what you've got," Ethan encouraged, sitting on the side with Mia. Robbie hesitated but then reached into his bag and pulled out a brightly colored piece of paper. "What is that?" Mia asked, her voice warm with interest. "It's a mural for our community," Robbie replied with a shy grin. "I want to show all the good things about it, the park, the library, and even the birds. But I need help to finish it." Ethan exchanged a glance with Mia and felt pride swelling up in his chest. "We can help with that. Each of us can add something special," he said. "You have a vision, and together we'll make it even bigger." Encouragement cascaded through the circle of kids as they gathered around Robbie's creation. The atmosphere transformed from uncertainty to excitement, a reminder that hope flourishes even in small, messy moments. As time passed, Ethan noticed James watching from the doorway, his earlier skepticism softening as he took in the kids working so earnestly together. Ethan caught his eye and offered a small smile, feeling a renewed spark of conviction. This was not about him, it was about the children, their dreams, and the bond forming among them. Mia nudged Ethan's shoulder. "Can't believe how much fun we're having," she whispered, her eyes shining. "What if we did this every week?" "Absolutely," Ethan replied. "This is just the beginning." But before they could continue the conversation, a child spoke up from the crowd, the one who had first confided in Ethan about Robbie. "Can we invite more kids next time? There are so many in the neighborhood who don't know about this." The idea took root in Ethan's heart like a seed eager to bloom. "Yes. Great idea," he said, already thinking of the possibilities. Just then, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out and saw an incoming message from Sarah. His stomach knotted for a moment. What could it be? "Everything okay?" Mia asked, noticing his expression change. Ethan hesitated. "I guess we'll find out." As he read the message, surprise flooded his mind. A chance for them to collaborate on a larger scale, a project that could benefit the entire community was waiting just around the corner. Would the parents back this idea? Would they unite for something greater? Just then, the kids erupted into cheers as Robbie hung his mural proudly on the wall, igniting the space with color and hope. But amidst the joy, a question loomed in Ethan's mind. Would he be ready to seize this opportunity when it came knocking? Ethan's head spun as he processed Sarah's message. She had suggested a partnership with a local nonprofit to provide more resources for the kids, a way to turn their creative expressions into community-wide projects. His heart raced, unsure how to relay such exciting news to the kids without overwhelming them. "Wait, guys," he called out, raising his hand to gather everyone's attention. The cheerful chatter faded, and the kids turned toward him expectantly. "I just got a message from Sarah, and we have a chance to do something really special." Mia bounced on her toes. "What is it? Is it about Robbie's mural?" Ethan nodded, a grin breaking through his nervousness. "Yes. We might get support from a local nonprofit to expand our project. We can invite more kids, get supplies, and actually create a community exhibition. How does that sound?" Gasps of excitement rippled through the group, and cheers erupted again. Robbie's face beamed with pride. "We could make a mural that covers an entire wall. It'd be huge. Or a series of those cool art pieces," Mia added, her eyes dancing with imagination. "A whole art show, like the one at the library." "Yes," Ethan encouraged, feeling the waves of enthusiasm wash over him. "We can write letters to invite families. Let us show them what we are doing here." The kids began chattering excitedly about ideas. What if they painted a section for each season? What if they added a mural that captured their favorite community stories? The energy in the room buzzed like electricity. As the enthusiasm grew, Ethan's mind tangled with concerns. He had seen the challenges of working with parents before. Would they embrace this idea? Would they trust him, a newcomer, to lead such an endeavor? After the small incident with the fallen table, he knew he needed to showcase his commitment. Mia pulled him aside, her expression serious yet hopeful. "Ethan, what if they don't want to help us? What if they think it's a waste of time?" He took a deep breath, meeting her gaze. Sometimes people need a little push when it comes to change. But this is important. We're doing something good for them, for the kids, and I believe they'll see that. But what if we end up with nothing? Her worry tugged at him like a heavy weight. "Then we try again," he said softly. "And we don't stop. Each step is worth it if we're trying to make things better. You all are enough to start something amazing." Just then James approached, his brow furrowed as he spoke quietly. "Ethan, I'm not sure if a lot of parents will get behind another project. I mean, after the last art night, didn't he go as planned? Do you believe in these kids?" Ethan asked, his voice steady. James hesitated. "Of course I do. They're talented. But we can't just focus on past mistakes," Ethan interjected. "We're creating something bigger, something they'll be proud of." James nodded slowly, as uncertainty faded. It was clear he wanted to believe in Ethan, in the kids. The challenge was shifting, becoming more than just about art. It was about hope, community spirit, and standing up for the dreams of those who felt ignored. As the room filled with new ideas, Ethan's heart swelled with determination. "Okay, let us start planning. We've got a lot of work to do. Everyone can help with posters, letters, and brainstorming ideas for this exhibition." The kids erupted into action, quickly dividing tasks. Laughter echoed through the community center, but deep inside, Ethan still felt the weight of responsibility. Would their efforts be enough to win over the parents? Would they be able to bridge the gap that seemed to loom just beyond their newly kindled dreams? Suddenly, his phone buzzed again. Another message from Sarah. Something urgent. "Hold on, guys. Let me check this." He opened the message, and his heart dropped. The nonprofit's support depended on a meeting that required the parents' attendance. "What is wrong?" Mia asked, sensing his sudden tension. "The next step for us, I might have to convince the parents to come together," Ethan admitted, feeling the intensity build around him. Could he really do it? The cheers faded to silence as the weight of his new challenge settled in, leaving him wondering if they truly understood what lay ahead. Would this community rise together? Or would they crumble under the burden of doubt? Ethan felt a knot tighten in his stomach as he processed the implications of Sarah's message. The idea of standing before the parents, asking them to trust him with their children's creativity, felt overwhelming. What if they questioned his motives? What if they recalled past failures? "Okay, epic meeting time," he announced to the kids, trying to mask his worry. "Let us work on how we can present our ideas, including what we want to achieve in our exhibition." Mia's buoyant spirit brightened the room. "We could make giant posters. Kids love big art." "Totally," Robbie chimed in. "Let us use our drawings to tell the story about our community. Like superheroes from the local park." Ethan watched the kids brainstorm, their young faces lighting up with possibility. The thrill of their passion filled him with hope, momentarily distracting him from his anxiety. As they sketched designs and colored ideas on poster board, the atmosphere buzzed with laughter and excitement. Yet, Ethan couldn't shake the rumbling storm of doubt inside. Would it be enough? The room eventually calmed as visions turned into focus, and one small group of kids turned to him. "What if we made a few mini presentations for the parents too?" Mia suggested, her brow furrowed in thought. "Show them what we're doing ahead of time." "That's brilliant," Ethan praised. "We can share our hopes and dreams through our art. Let us prepare something simple, heartfelt, that communicates how much this means to us." With the plan in motion, the kids divided into groups to tackle the tasks ahead. Some handled artwork preparation, others practiced how to speak about their creations. Ethan guided them through ideas, fostering their confidence each step of the way. They were a team, united by a shared vision. As the day wore on, the community center filled with colorful sketches and whispers of boundless creativity. Ethan glanced around the room, a smile creeping onto his face. Perhaps, just perhaps, they could pull this off. But deep inside, uncertainty still brewed. The meeting loomed like dark clouds on the horizon. It put each of their dreams at stake, and amidst their laughter, he could almost hear the cautious murmurs of doubt. Later that evening, after the kids had gone home, Ethan sat at the desk, the faint glow of a single lamp illuminating his notepad filled with notes. He began drafting a letter for the parents, pouring his heart into it, his fingers trembling slightly as he wrote. Words of gratitude, hope, and excitement flowed. But each stroke of the pen came with an uneasy feeling. What if they wouldn't come? What if they refused to be involved? Suddenly, a knock at the door startled him. James peeked in. "Hey, you okay? You've been here a while." "Just writing the letter for the parents," Ethan sighed, rubbing his temples. "I'm trying to find the right words." "Want to show me?" Ethan hesitated but then nodded. Together, they sat, and James scanned the notes, his brow furrowing at points. "This is good. You're showing respect for them." He paused. "Make sure they understand how much this is for the kids." As they exchanged thoughts, the conversation deepened. Ideas began to flow, and what had started as a weighty anxiety transformed into a shared responsibility. "This matters," James finally said, looking Ethan in the eye. "Not just because of the art, but because their kids feel valued. Let them feel that in your words." Feeling bolstered, Ethan revised the letter. With each edit, he became more resolute. But as he finished, a true fear gnawed at him. He needed this to work. They deserved this chance to create. The next day, he would not only present this proposal but face the challenge head-on, determined to bridge the gap between dreams and reality. With the letter complete, Ethan looked out of the window at the neighborhood dusk. Tomorrow was the pivotal moment. How would the parents react? Would they embrace his ideas? His heart raced at the thought. And as he leaned back in his chair, a flicker of hope ignited. Yet, even with renewed conviction, one question loomed bigger than ever. Would the community gather around the kids and rally for their vision? Tomorrow would reveal all. Ethan awoke the next morning with the sun streaming in, warm and inviting. Yet, The comfort of the morning light did little to ease the tightness in his chest. He took a deep breath, attempting to channel the excitement from last night's brainstorming session. As he prepared for the meeting, each step felt heavier than the last. He dressed quickly, his mind racing with thoughts of what lay ahead. Would the parents even care? Did they place any value on the kids' artistic endeavors? He shook off the doubts, focusing instead on the joy radiating from the children's energy the day before. He couldn't let anxiety overshadow their excitement. Arriving at the center early, Ethan set up the room. He positioned colorful posters on the walls, each an explosion of imagination crafted by tiny hands. He carefully arranged chairs, picturing the faces of the parents as they entered. He envisioned their smiles, their eyes lighting up with pride. As the time approached, parents began to trickle in, their expressions ranging from curiosity to skepticism. Ethan's heart raced. He watched as they exchanged glances, a few whispering to each other. He felt a pang of insecurity. Were they already dismissing the whole thing? Mia approached him. Her eyes sparkled with optimism. "Are you ready, Mr. Ethan? I can't wait to show my painting." Ethan nodded, his nervousness easing slightly. He caught a glimpse of Robbie and the other kids enthusiastically discussing their work, animated gestures punctuating their excitement. "You've got this, Ethan," he whispered to himself. Finally, the meeting began. Parents settled into their chairs, the chatter quieting as Ethan stepped in front with the kids gathered around him. "Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here today, and trust me, you're in for a treat." He shared a few words about the importance of creativity and how it cultivates confidence in children. He watched the parents nod, some even leaning forward, intrigued. The moment felt electric. Ethan felt the energy shift, their attentiveness lifting his spirits. Then Mia, brave and bright, stepped forward. "We're here to show you our art. Art that tells our story." She beamed, clutching her colorful poster proudly. With each child that spoke, joy rippled through the room. Their excitement painted the atmosphere in vibrant hues. Ethan noticed parents exchanging impressed glances, their expressions softening with every heartfelt explanation. Another child stood up, and suddenly, laughter erupted from the crowd as they shared a silly anecdote about the creation process. As each mini-presentation concluded, parents began clapping, the sound reverberating around the room like a warm embrace. But amid the cheers, Ethan saw a parent's frown. A father, crossing his arms, looked unconvinced. Ethan's heart sank slightly. Would that frown shatter the unity crafted in those moments? To combat his doubts, he encouraged the kids to share their hopes, a chance for them to voice what this project meant to them. "I want my art to be like a hug to everyone in the community," Robbie exclaimed. As more kids spoke, Ethan sensed something magical rising. The seeds of confidence were sprouting before him, blooming in color. A few parents offered their own thoughts, sharing stories of their childhood art projects, a connection blossoming across generations. Moments like these warmed Ethan's heart, confirming the purpose behind their endeavors. But as the meeting continued, the father with a frown, still subtly shaking his head, stood up. "This is nice and all, but what does it actually amount to? Are we just going to hang some artworks and call it a day? What is the real vision here?" The question hung in the air, thick and heavy. Ethan felt the floor drop beneath him. Was it true? Had he failed to deliver the depth of their plans, the dreams layered in each brushstroke? Silence took hold, and he glanced at the kids who looked up at him, wide-eyed, searching for reassurance. Ethan inhaled sharply. This was it. This was a moment he couldn't let slide by. "Thank you for asking that," he said, his heart pounding. "Let me tell you what these children have in mind for their community, and how we can all be part of it." He opened his mouth to speak, ready to articulate their vision, the dreams floating just beyond his reach, but at that moment, a small hand raised timidly. It was Mia again. Can I say something too? Ethan smiled, feeling a spark of hope ignite once more. Would she remind everyone why they were here? Would her words be the answer he needed? Of course, Mia, he replied, stepping aside. As she stood, poised to speak, Ethan felt the weight of the moment shift entirely. What would Mia say? Would she capture the hearts of those present and bridge the gap between doubt and dream? Mia took a deep breath, her little frame filled with determination. The room was silent, and all eyes were on her. "Hi, everyone," she began, her voice trembling slightly, but growing stronger with each word. "I'm Mia, and I made a painting about our hometown. It's called The Rainbow of Hope." She held up her poster, showing waves of colors blending together. "You see, I painted it after looking out my window. I saw rain pouring down, and I felt sad. But then I saw a rainbow come out, and it made me smile. I thought about how we all have stormy days, but if we keep believing, something beautiful can come after." Ethan watched as Mia's eyes sparkled with passion. He could see the parents' expressions begin to soften, intrigued by her sincerity. "I want everyone to know that art can help us feel better. That's why we want to have more art things around here, so we can be happy together. It can remind us not to give up. Just like the rainbow." As she finished, the room erupted into applause. The father, who had previously frowned, was now nodding thoughtfully, a flicker of understanding crossing his face. Ethan felt his chest swell with pride, not just for Mia, but for all the kids who had poured their hearts into this project. "Wow, Mia," Ethan said, stepping back into focus. "That was beautiful. You've all shared such meaningful stories today, but it's more than just showing parents your art. It's about creating a space where we all can come together, support each other, and reflect our dreams back onto the world." He could see it now, the glimmer of connection spreading through the crowd as parents shifted in their seats, brimming with newfound interest. The earlier skepticism faded and was replaced by curiosity. What could they actually achieve together? Encouraged by the energy building in the room, Ethan continued. "These children want to organize an art fair where everyone can show what they've created, an event where we can celebrate creativity and community together. Imagine families bonding over art, sharing moments just like Mia's. Wouldn't that make a difference?" A murmur of agreement flowed through the crowd, and Ethan felt momentum build. The father, who had questioned the purpose of their project, looked around, leaning toward Ethan now. "How can we help?" Ethan blinked, his heart racing. This was an invitation to further the dream, to collide their visions with reality. "We want you to be involved. Each of you can help by volunteering, providing supplies, or even sharing your own artistic talents. Art can be for everyone, but it starts with us." The applause grew once more, louder this time, echoing throughout the room. The initial hesitance felt miles away. Children beamed, turning to each other, sharing smiles and laughter, their confidence glowing brighter than ever. Ethan felt the warmth in his chest expand further, a sense of belonging that filled the room. But just as things seemed to be coming together, the same father hesitated, raising his hand again. "What if some of us don't have the time or materials? How will everyone feel included?" Ethan's heart dropped again. Would his moment of connection break apart? But then he glanced at Mia. She was looking at him with wide, encouraging eyes. He felt ready to face the challenge. That's a great question. And it's exactly why we'll organize a supply drive, where families who can donate can help those who might need a little support. Together, we can find a way to include everyone. More nods, more claps. A spark of hope ignited in Ethan's heart once again. The conversation flowed effortlessly, and Ethan basked in the joy that radiated from the room. Ideas flew across the air like vibrant brushstrokes, each one weaving deeper bonds between families. Yet, as the meeting drew to a close, Ethan glanced at the wall where colorful posters shimmered under the lights. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was still a challenge ahead, one that loomed over their budding dream of community. Mia tugged on his sleeve, her smile wide. "We did it, Mr. Ethan. They really want this." "What happens next?" Ethan kneeled beside her, joy and worry mingling in his chest. "It's up to us to make it happen. But first, let us make sure everyone believes just like you did." They looked out at the parents, who were still chatting and brainstorming. But deep down, Ethan felt the nagging question hang in the air: would this excitement last? Would they all rally together when it mattered most? And just like that, the next chapter of their journey began to unfold, full of hope but shadowed by uncertainty. What would they face as they marched toward their goal? Days turned into weeks, and the energy of excitement rippled through the community. The kids, along with their parents, came together like a kaleidoscope, each individual contributing their colors, ideas, and talents. They held meetings filled with laughter and creativity, sketching plans and pooling resources for the upcoming art fair. Ethan was amazed. He saw parents that once reserved transformed into passionate allies. At the center of it all was Mia. She was a beacon, organizing painting sessions, gathering supplies, and encouraging everyone to share their stories. Each time she talked to her friends, her voice bubbled with joy. "We're building something amazing," she would say, eyes sparkling as she explained their vision of the fair. But one evening, after a particularly long day of planning, Ethan found himself staring at the community center's wall adorned with a colorful mix of art projects. He felt the whirlwind of emotion stirring. Was this warmth and unity just a fleeting moment? What if, when the day arrived, it all fell apart? As the sun dipped below the skyline, casting a golden hue on everything, Ethan plucked courage from the depths of his heart. "You've come too far to turn back," he whispered to himself. Then the day of the art fair dawned, bright and promising. The entire neighborhood swelled with anticipation, as the aromas of food carts mingled with vibrant chatter and laughter. Ethan stood outside the community center, clutching a clipboard, watching families stream in filled with excitement. A mix of nervousness and hope danced in his chest. Mia dashed in and out, her spirit electric, megaphone in hand. "Let us start the show," she called, rallying kids and parents to gather around. As the event kicked off, the atmosphere transformed into a celebration. Children showcased murals, drawings, and sculptures, each piece reflecting their stories. The crowd buzzed like a hive, filled with smiles and admiration. Ethan walked around, soaking in the warmth of connection. Each child greeted him with sparkling eyes, proudly explaining their artwork, and he felt a swell of pride. This is what it looks like to dream together, he thought. But just when everything seemed perfect, he spotted that same concerned father standing with crossed arms. His expression weighed heavy, apprehensive. With determination flooding his veins, Ethan approached him. "Hey, James. What do you think?" James hesitated, glancing around the room. "I see the kids are happy, but I just hope they stay this involved. What if they lose their spark?" Ethan nodded, fully understanding the worry. "That's a valid concern. But look around. They're creating memories right now, building bonds not just through art but through each other. It's our job to keep that flame alive." Just then, Mia bounded over, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Dad," she called, running toward James. "Look at my painting." Her wide smile spread like sunshine, and Ethan could see the worry begin to melt away from James's face. Gradually he smiled back, warmth creeping into his expression. "I'm proud of you, Mia." As the day progressed, laughter echoed through the air, filling the gaps of doubt. Parents mingled, exchanging ideas on how to keep the program going. They created plans for weekly workshops and projects, getting involved in mentoring the kids just as Ethan had envisioned. Feeling this sense of accomplishment, Ethan looked around at the crowd, witnessing the transformation of a community bound together by creativity, hope, and shared effort. There was no more hesitation. They were now a family, each person vital to the tapestry they were weaving. As the fair reached its climax, Ethan took to the stage with Mia by his side. He felt overwhelmed with gratitude, ready to express his heart. Today isn't just about art. It's a testament to our resilience. Every brushstroke and every shared dream has led us here. Let us promise to keep this energy alive and continue supporting each other, not just today but in every tomorrow. The crowd erupted in roaring applause, cheers filling the community center like a tidal wave. Each face was lit with hope, a collective heartbeat pounding with purpose. Mia raised her voice. Together, we can paint a brighter future. And then, united, they made a pact, a pledge to celebrate creativity, connection, and change, to stand together against the stormy days, just like the rainbow brings joy after rain. As the sun began to set, the vibrant colors created by the children glowed in the fading light, symbolizing the incredible journey that lay ahead. Ethan felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that they were not just creating art but a new reality. Together, they had built a community fueled by passion and love, one that would continue to thrive, evolve, and rise every time challenges appeared. With a heart full of pride and a smile on his face, Ethan thought, "This is just the beginning." As the credits roll, remember this moment of inspiration. For more uplifting stories, you need to subscribe now. Hit that button and join our adventure. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support matters. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this incredible transformation. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need a boost of hope today. Let us spread this joy together.